Good evening. Today is August the 18th, 2020. Our thought for today is let us never negotiate out of fear, but let us never fear to negotiate. That's John F. Kennedy. I want to go ahead and officially call this meeting to order tonight. We're going to have our invocation tonight by Pastor Almond Turner. Sir, if you would, please come up and lead us in prayer tonight. Yes, if you would, please. If you would tell us a little bit about yourself, and if you would pray for our community tonight. We have had several losses in our community this week and last week. The Perry and the Greer family. I know you heard about them drowning. The Hardeman family, and also the Harper family.
Yes.
Young lady lost her life as well. But if you would, please tell us a little bit about yourself and please pray for our community.
Yes. Well, my name is Almond Turner, and I am the pastor of New Prospect Liberty CME Church in Marcello, Georgia.
Okay.
Amen. I am a longtime resident of Newton County.
If you could pull that mic up to you. There you go.
There we go. Longtime resident of Newton County. I graduated here, live here, and raised my family here.
Amen.
Let us pray.
Amen.
Gracious Lord, we come tonight recognizing who you are, the power, the mercy, and the grace that you bestowed upon this county. Lord, we say a special prayer as our county is going through troubled times. Lord, we ask that you right now leave your Holy Spirit with us to comfort us, to get us through these times. Lord, we ask right now for a special prayer for these board members. Their decisions at this time and place in our world has been made difficult. Lord, they have the talents, they have the vision, they have the brains, they put in the work. But Lord, only you see perfection from beginning to end. Lord, every decision may it shift through your hands and be the best decision for this county. Lord, we thank you for this meeting. We thank you for every seat that is filled here tonight. Bless each and every household in a mighty, mighty way. And all these things we pray in your son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Pastor Turner, for praying for us, praying for our community tonight. And we look forward to seeing you a little later on in the agenda tonight. So thank you so much. We're going to ask now if Commissioner Cowan, if you would lead us in our pledge. Commissioners, we do have a change to the agenda tonight. We want to make 9A. We want to make 9A the new mass ordinance. 9A. With that being said, I seek a motion that we approve the agenda. It's been motioned by Commissioner Mason and second by Commissioner Schultz. Any discussion? All in favor? It passes 5-0. Thank you. Next is citizen comments. This opportunity that we allow citizens to make comments about agenda topics only. Agenda topics only. You have 3 minutes to do so. You may come at this time. Please state your name and your address for the record, please. Agenda topics only. Thank you. Next, we are down to the chairman's report. Tonight, Sheriff Brown will be presenting the Medal of Merit from the National Sheriff Association to the Almond Turner family. Sheriff, if you would, please come at this time.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, and those of you that make up the board here. It's an honor to be here tonight, especially to represent the National Sheriff's Association. And I stand here on their behalf to present to the Turner family. Pastor Turner failed to mention that he's also one of our chaplains there at the Office of Sheriff. So his services extend beyond the walls of his normal occupation as well as the wall of his sanctuary. So he is indigenizing the community, and we admire his strength for that. As most of you know, that Chief Turner, also Deputy Turner, lost his life. And it was befitting for the Office of Sheriff to send in a letter to the National Sheriff's Association on his behalf. There were several recommendations that was sent in by other agencies throughout the nation. And as the Executive Director, Joe Nathan, Mr. Thomas, stated, even though Reserve Deputy Turner's life was not taken in the line of duty, however, they did not take his service lightly. The nomination as the Reserve Deputy of the Year went to Captain James Goodman, Jr., and that was of the Tallahassee, Florida Sheriff Department. He received that prestigious award. However, again, I would say, according to the National Sheriff, there were numerous from across the United States. But the Almond Turner, they went on to say, even though Almond Turner, Deputy Turner, was not selected as the recipient for the Reserve Deputy of the Year, but they feel that his valuable contributions to his community and the field of criminal justice and law enforcement should be commended by the National Sheriff's Association. So therefore, Executive Director Thomas directed that I would present a certificate of merit on behalf of the National Sheriff's Association to the Deputy Almond Turner family, and that I would please extend to them their respect and admirations for all of his accomplishments. And just say, on behalf of the Office of Sheriff and even on the behalf of the National Sheriff's Association, we are honored and pleased to present this office of certificate of merit to the Turner family for his sacrifice and the hard work that he provided to this community for 40 plus years here, only here in Newton County. So we thank you for that. And I see Chief Cotton is here. He was Chief Cotton's our deputy chief or assistant chief, and we thank him for being here in order to witness this occasion. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sheriff Brown and Pastor Turner. Almond Turner have done so much for this community, and we are so grateful that people are still recognizing him. It's a blessing. Next on the chairman's report, we have with us tonight also some special guests from Georgia Piedmont Technical College. I see Dr. Holston is here with us tonight. Guys, if you would come on up, Dr. Clark, and I think Mr. Kelly, you're gonna come up with them also. They coming to give us tonight an update. Thank you so much for being here, sir. It's good to see you. It's been a while.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. The floor is yours.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair, and to ladies and gentlemen of the board. It's an honor to be here with you. The whole purpose of us being here tonight is we were told this is the place we come to get all the answers that we've been seeking to overcome the challenge that we're facing. So we're here to hear from you. No, not really. But you know, we are here at Georgia Piedmont Technical College. You probably knew us in our formal life as the Cab Tech, but we are more representative of our area. We actually serve Newton County, Rockdale County, and DeKalb County. And I can tell you this, I'm going into my second year here at the college. And I can tell you it has been a wonderful experience for me. I will also tell you that I am a Newton County resident. I live right off of Highway 11. So I'm very vested in this community. And in fact, I actually made my home office here for the college here on our Covington campus. So I have a very vested interest in what happens in the county. I support everything that you all are trying to do. And I know this is an unprecedented time for so many of us. And it's hard sometimes for people to understand the levity and the weight of the decisions that we have to make when we're in leadership, and all the things we have to consider. So I want to say thank you for your service, for your leadership, for the things that you do for our community and our constituents. So as I said, we are Newton County's technical college. We have actually been here in existence since 1961. So I can tell you that the college is here to stay. We're not one of those fly-by-night institutions. And what our whole point and mission is, do we have a little thing? All right. Our whole point of existence is workforce development. If I didn't bring the big, long paragraph mission statement to read to you, but what we're all about is training people, getting our folks into the door, getting them the skills that they need so that they can be employed by the business and industries here in Newton County. And be successful and add to our tax base, right? That makes us all happy. I was actually once told by my boss that I was responsible for every help wanted sign in DeKalb, Rockdale, and Newton counties. That is a very tall order, and I'm soliciting your help to call on us, to help us fulfill that big goal to take care of our citizens. And we are a public 2-year institution. We're actually in the executive branch of the government. And so my boss reports to Governor Kemp. So we're in that executive branch. And so we're part of a state system called the Technical College System of Georgia. And there's 22 of us. And we happen to be the best in the system. You don't have to do any research on that. I give you confidence that we are the best technical college in the system. And as I said, we're all about making sure that we serve Newton County well. And I can tell you since my arrival here at the college, we've been kind of in a recalibration, revisioning, rebranding, kind of renewing, looking forward. You know, it's so easy to look backwards to see where you come from and the challenges that you've overcome, but we learn from our past, we grow from our past, and what we're looking forward to is how do we move forward? And I know that's what you all are about here. How do we move our community forward? How do we serve people better and make sure that they have a better quality of life as they live and thrive here in Newton County? So I've said enough. I know what you really want to hear is from Dr. Clark. Dr. Clark is our Vice President for Economic Development, and he's going to talk to you about some specific things that we're doing here at the college to support the community. So I want to say thank you on behalf of our faculty and our staff and our student body here in Newton County and beyond. And thank you for your support for the college. So I'm going to ask Dr. Clark to continue on for us.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, commissioners.
Good evening.
Again, my name is Irvin Clark. I'm the Vice President for Economic Development here at Georgia Piedmont Technical College. I want to thank you for allowing me to come out tonight to talk to you about Georgia Piedmont and some of the work we're doing, particularly in Newton County, to help support not only our business and industry partners in the county, but the citizens of Newton County, to help them get these careers that are out here in Newton County, to get them career ready. And I think we do a good job of that, and hopefully you'll share the same sentiment. If you look up there, I don't know if it's up here, but at our college, we in economic development, which is really geared towards working with students or businesses to help them with customized training or contract training. And so we have a number of industries in Newton County that we work with who are looking to upskill their workforce. And in doing that, we provide very short-term, high-impact training for a lot of these companies out here. So this can be anywhere from manufacturing to small businesses. Overall, throughout the service area that we serve, we have served over 130 companies since 2019. We've served over 3,000 employees, and we have over 80,000 hours that we have logged so far since 2019. And that's really significant, because what that tells you is that we are doing a lot to work with a lot of businesses, not only in DeKalb and Rockdale County, but particularly in Newton County. And a lot of these businesses are manufacturers and small businesses that we've worked with to really target some of these high demand skills, particularly in manufacturing or small business development, soft skills that they need for their employees, that we are really targeting to help keep their workforce strong as they continue to evolve, not just in this COVID era, but just overall as a business. One of the great things that we have at the college is our Metropolitan Corporate College. This is something that we introduced last year, and it's been in existence now for about a year. And we have 4 specific areas that we focus on with the Metro Corporate College. Some of the things that people don't know about our college is that we actually have the largest regional transportation training center in the state of Georgia. We do all of the CDL training at Georgia Piedmont Technical College. And because we're the largest, we pull a significant amount of people who come from Newton County down to our transportation training center in Lithonia to get training. And so we train in CDL, and we also do refresher training. So a lot of people who live in Newton County who are looking to either get a refresher in their CDL or become CDL drivers, they will come to our regional transportation training center to get training. We also have the Georgia Film Academy. We have the largest film academy in Georgia as relates to the technical colleges. So we actually train students to go into entry-level positions in the film industry. So makeup design, set design, construction, media, editing, those types of areas. We actually do that training at our college. We also have professional development that we do. We do a lot of it with our small businesses. So it may be Six Sigma, where we talk about the principles of Six Sigma, or we do professional development with small businesses that talk about different strategies in terms of management of their finances and such. So we do a lot of things in terms of professional development to help a lot of our business and industry partners. And we have our Rockwell Automation Academy, which is something we're really proud of. We got into a partnership with Rockwell about a year and a half ago, and this partnership really has evolved where we have a number of companies, especially in Newton County, who are utilizing the Rockwell training that we provide on campus or at their facility, which we consider the top level training that we can provide to a company. A lot of these companies are utilizing equipment and technology that is supported through the level of training that Rockwell provides. And so our college being able to provide that entryway and that platform for those companies to get that level of training is really critical, because they want to keep their employees upskilled and responsive to the needs of those industries. And so in able to do that, you have to bring the best level of training in front of these employers. And so Rockwell gives us that opportunity to be able to do that. And so it's been a huge success, not only for our industries, but for those individuals who are participating in that training. Some of the other things we're doing that has been impactful for Newton County, in response to the COVID-19 pandemic, we actually developed a series in partnership with Georgia Power. And this was the disaster mitigation series. And we focused on several topics. It was geared towards small businesses. And we really wanted to target, this was a free program, so Georgia Power paid for it. because we solicited them and asked them if they could support it. We wanted to focus on different topics that we felt and that our industry partners were asking us, how do we respond to this situation? And so some of the topics centered around human resource issues or e-commerce, things that are relevant today to small business owners where maybe several months ago that wasn't something that was of an issue. But our job, and as our president said, is to be responsive to industry's needs. And so we can adapt quickly. And this mitigation series provided us a platform to be able to do that. We ran it over the summer. We were very, very successful. We had a large number of businesses participate in the program, and we're looking to also run this series again later in the fall. One of the other things that we did, we partnered with the Newton Chamber of Commerce and the Development Authority here to do a small business spotlight. This program was really a way for us to highlight small businesses in Newton County. Number of small businesses that are out here in Newton County. And so we wanted to use our platform as a college to have the information of these businesses listed on our website, information about the business, and a link to that business's website. So we worked with the Chamber and the Development Authority to gather information about the businesses, give a description, and we were able to put it up. And we ran the series for about 7 weeks on our website. And we also sent out social media blasts to our students and to our alumni because we have a very large database. And really, it's just letting people know that, you know, businesses are open. We support our businesses in our community, and we would like for you to patronize them and support them too in this time. And so it was important for that. This was another program that we did. We did not charge any businesses, and this was a collaboration effort between the college and those partners that I spoke about. One other thing that we are proud that we're kicking off, Rezone was very generous to provide us a grant to hold a e-commerce fundamentals entrepreneurship program. It's actually going to be a credential. A lot of small business owners are moving from brick and mortar to a mix of brick and mortar and online. And that can be a challenge to some people who've been doing something a certain way for 15, 20 years. And so what are the fundamentals of how you switch to e-commerce and how does that work? Well, we want to teach, you know, small business owners, what do you do? You know, what are the laws surrounding it? What are some of the best practices or strategies that you can intake? What are some of the things that you should look for from a financial standpoint as you're getting into that space? So we want to be able to teach that. This is a 5-week program. It's accelerated. But the good thing about it, it is online. And so individuals who participate in it will be able to go through the online courses and 5 weeks. And Verizon was very generous to provide us the financial support to be able to offer this to small business owners in Newton County. And so classes actually start September 15th. So we're really looking forward to seeing this kick off. And actually, we're going to have a check presentation on Thursday from Verizon to kind of announce it to everyone in that regard too. So we're looking forward to seeing that happen. One of the things that I'm so proud of is we actually kicked off our first pre-apprenticeship industrial maintenance cohort. As you know, manufacturing is extremely important in Newton County. It is one of the largest industries out here that employs a lot of different people. And there's a lot of great careers in manufacturing. But one of the things that our manufacturing partners in Newton County has told us is that, Irvin, we need a skilled workforce. We need for you to help us put that skilled workforce in front of us so we can bring them in. We need you to help train them. And so we're doing that. This industrial maintenance program is a 15-week program. It's geared towards individuals who are unemployed or underemployed, or they just want to make a career change. And so the 15 people that are involved in this program are going through a series of classes where they'll pick up several industry recognized credentials, as well as several micro credentials in areas such as electrical fabrication, mechanical fabrication, PLCs. And these are areas that our manufacturers are asking us, listen, we need to make sure these individuals understand these things as they come in. We can train them. We can also give them the on-the-job training experience that they need, but we need to make sure that they have that foundational level that is needed to be able to be successful when they walk in. And so we are focusing on that in this program. These students are taking classes both online and in person at our Advanced Manufacturing Center in Newton County. And I am proud that we have 5 students that are from Newton County that are enrolled in the program. And the great thing about these students that are in the program, they are a learning community. They are a cohort. So they're doing everything together. I'm actually with them on Saturdays because I come to the class with them on Saturday just to observe and see what's going on. And just to give you an invitation, on September 12th, we're actually hosting our industry partners on campus to meet the students. And so you are welcome to come out if you'd like to come out and meet these students so you can see what they're doing. But 12 students, and those pictures that you see up there are just pictures that we recently took this last week in the Advanced Manufacturing Center, that they're doing some work on the electrical side. And so we look forward to seeing them graduate later on in the year, probably at the end of September. And I probably can't hear anything, but that's just a video of them walking around. That's actually me with the camera, so I don't have the best skills with that, but I just wanted you to see the students are working on these electrical and transformers machines and doing the practical technical training that's needed that our industry partners are asking them to learn and understand. This gentleman here is Chris. He is actually a Newton County resident. He is a veteran, and he is unemployed. And Chris came to me probably about 4 months ago and said, listen, I want to get into this program. And we actually were going to run the program back then, but we had to stop because of the COVID-19 crisis. But I stayed in contact with Chris, and Chris stayed in contact with me. And when I called him, I said, Chris, we're ready to go. We're going to run this program. We're just going to make some adjustments. He said, I'm ready. And so he, and you may not be able to hear the audio on this, but he is so motivated with this program in terms of what he's currently learning now and what he is looking forward to when he graduates. Having that level of knowledge needed to go directly into the workforce in Newton County, working for one of our Newton County employers. That's what he's looking forward to. And so when you have an opportunity to look at this video, I just like for you to listen to what he has to say, because you may not be able to hear it here. But also, if you come up on September 12th, you'll be able to meet him and really get to know his story and what he's all about. And the fact that he's a veteran even makes it even more wonderful. But students in this program, Lean Six Sigma, credential, OSHA 10, basic forklift, CPR first aid, and then the micro credentials that they'll pick up: math measurements, mechanical fabrication, basic electricity control, PLCs, blueprint reading, all areas that our manufacturers are asking us to help train people in. That's what we're doing. We're focusing on that. And they also get soft skills training as well, which they've already went through. May not be able to hear that. That's okay. Some of the things too, I just want to talk about that's on the horizon that we are excited about, and I hope that you will be excited about as well. We are launching the Georgia Apprenticeship Program later this fall. And this program is really a program that's geared to help our industry partners in manufacturing. This is a program that's going to focus on mechatronics. And mechatronics is looks at electrical and mechanical training in the world of manufacturing. It's the basic way I can put it. And a lot of our manufacturers are looking for mechatronics technicians to work in their facilities. And one of the great things about this program is that it's an apprenticeship program, which means that the employer can train someone that works at their company, and they can have them come to the college. I'm so excited, I'm hitting the microphone. And have them come to the college at the same time to take classes. And so they can grow that employee as they're learning and they're meeting the competencies that are part of the apprenticeship program, as well as taking the classes at the college. And so it's a win-win for the company because they can grow their own, which is what a lot of our companies want us to help them do. And it's in a high demand field of mechatronics. And so you will find a lot of our manufacturers are really excited about this program. We actually have several companies that are on the committee that's helping us to build the program. One of those companies is Michelin, and they're looking forward to this program launching in the fall because they have an opportunity to send some of their incumbent workers to this program so that they can get the training needed over a 3-year period to really be prepared to work in that particular facility as a mechatronics technician. One of the other things we're kicking off, as well as a CNC computer pneumatic controller pre-apprenticeship program, similar to what we're doing in industrial maintenance, but CNC takes a little bit of a different pathway. So we're looking to launch that in the fall. We're going to have about 8 students enroll in that program. We also have a cybersecurity fundamentals program that we are kicking off. This is an area that has been growing in Newton County, and a lot of people want to get into the IT space, and so we're looking to put that in place. And then finally, we are launching an initiative of focusing on 50 in 5 weeks, manufacturing ready logistics and distribution. We want to be able to train 50 people in 5 weeks because there is a large need for people to go into entry-level careers in the manufacturing, distribution, and logistics space. And so we have the capacity to be able to train that many people within that time frame, particularly because of the way that we're going to be able to deliver the classes. And so we really look forward to doing that. And I fully expect that we'll be able to recruit a large number of Newton County residents into this program to go into a lot of these entry-level positions that exist out there. Some of the last things I just want to talk about is we also are running the evening welding fundamentals program. Welding is a very strong field. A lot of people are interested in it. And a lot of people that we talk to, particularly in Newton County, want to be in the program, but they currently are working in a job that they want to move into a much higher paying job like welding. And so we're going to run a weekend program that will allow for them to be able to take the classes that are needed so they can still get through the program and earn some of the AWS certifications that are associated with that program. And finally, we are running our regional job fair on October 8th and 9th. That is going to be held virtually. We most recently held our virtual job fair on July 27th and worked with the Chamber and the Development Authority. We had about 350 participants, and we also had about 46 employers. So we are really excited about that and look forward to the job fair on October 8th and 9th to move more people in front of our employers so they can be career ready and also align them with the resources and the programs we have at the college to ensure that they have the skills, technical skills and soft skills needed to be successful in these jobs. And that concludes my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you so much, guys. I would open it up for comments and questions for the commissioners, but we are in zoning tonight. And so we are 5 minutes over. So I just want to thank you guys for what you do in our community. Thank you for providing that services to the citizens of this community. And you're not only doing it here, but you're doing it in, I think, DeKalb and I think Rockdale as well. So thank you so much for what you do and continue to partner with us. And we continue to partner with you guys. And we look forward to the job fair. The job fair is such a huge and successful event and provides so many opportunities for the citizens of this community. So you gave out a lot of information tonight. So guys, if you want to take down his email, his contact information, if you have any questions for him, please do so. Thank you so much, sir. And thank you, Dr. Holston and Mr. Pollard for being here as well tonight. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Guys, we are in our zoning tonight. I think Sam is going to handle the first zoning case. This is our public hearing. We're going to go down to item number 18. We'll turn it over to Sam, if you would, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And before I begin introducing this item, I would like to request that if and when a motion is made to approve this, if you look at item 18, the third line, it says suspending section. If you would kindly read that in as suspending enforcement of section. I just see that as an opportunity to clarify the purpose of this resolution.
Where is it again?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's item 18 on your agenda.
Yeah.
And the resolution title says about halfway through, it says suspending section 510.
Mm-hmm.
It should say suspending enforcement of section 510.
So if you would add enforcement between suspending this section, please.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So the background to this resolution is that with the anticipated need to begin the school year with some digital learning and the difficulties with respect to internet access and childcare that digital learning may present to various families throughout the county. Some local churches and houses of worship have stepped up to provide quasi daycare or digital learning environments with internet and nutrition and supervision of children. However, there was a concern that, at least in residential areas, typically to provide a daycare or school service at a house of worship, you need to have a conditional use permit. Because of the exigent need to get these support centers in place for the school year, the proposal is to suspend enforcement of that conditional use requirement, while at the same time asking those houses of worship to take reasonable steps to avoid traffic problems and other things that might come along with having a school at a church in a residential area. So that is the purpose of this resolution.
Thank you. It is approximately 7:39. We're going to open it up for those that want to speak in favor and those that want to speak opposing this tonight, this resolution tonight. We're going to go first with those that want to speak in favor. If you would, you have 10 minutes to do so. If you would, please come and state your name and your address for the record, please. Those that want to speak in favor tonight. One want to speak in favor. Thank you. We want to close out that portion of our public hearing. We also allow 10 minutes for those that want to speak opposing this tonight. If you would like to oppose tonight, you may come at this time. Please state your name and your address for the record, please. Have 10 minutes to do so. Anyone wants to oppose tonight? Thank you. That portion of our public hearing is closed as well. Would ask commissioners, do you have any questions tonight for Sam? Commissioner Schultz. Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I don't have any problem with the conditional use permit requirement being suspended. But if they do, if these churches do enter into childcare, then they're going to be subject to the same restrictions that any other provider of daycare would be subjected to. Is that correct?
Yep.
So anything that's related to state requirements, they will still comply with that.
Absolutely, and the resolution specifically says they need to comply with all other applicable laws.
Okay, I see that. That's under number 1, about midway through. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you. Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to ask of our county attorney, so is there any way that by changing this ordinance or temporarily suspending this section, is there any way that any liability is extended back to the county for doing so from these facilities?
I don't believe so. We are simply suspending enforcement, and enforcement is typically a discretionary matter for the county anyway. So I don't see any.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioner Mason.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For our county attorney, I just wanted to ask, because I didn't see a time frame of this. Do we know how long this is going to last, or once it's ready to go back out of suspension, will that just come back before this board?
So I will refer you to the back of this resolution, item 4, where it says it will cease upon the last day of class for the 2021 school year. or the cessation of the public health emergency. As a board, you may decide that we should remove this part earlier, and that would be up to you.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you. I seek a motion, please.
I'll do it, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to make a motion that we approve R081820A, a resolution of the Newton County Board of Commissioners to temporarily suspending enforcement of Section 510-480C4 of the county zoning ordinances pertaining to conditional use permits required for school and child care services at places of worship in residential districts.
Second.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. It's been motioned by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Schultz. Any more discussion? All in favor? It passes 5-0. Thank you so much. Next, we have item 19, Ms. Shayna Applewhite, if you would, please come tonight.
Thank you, Chairman Baines. Good afternoon, Commissioners and all. Our first case for this evening, it's case number REZ 20-000007. It's located off of Digby Road, 5.51 acres. Tax ID number is 106-049A. The existing land use map is rural residential. The existing zoning is agricultural. The proposed zoning for tonight is going to be agricultural residential. It is located in the Bear Creek, Alcovy River watershed and in Commissioner District 1. And the owner is Betty Bates Smith and the petitioner is Ernest C. Smith. At the Planning Commission meeting held on July 28, it was passed with a decision of 4-1 for approval. The applicant's intent is to rezone the parcel from agricultural to agricultural residential for the purpose of settling a family estate. And the subject site, as I said before, it's 5.51 acres located in the north and south side of Digby Road. And the parcel currently has A zoning and is undeveloped. And it's located in an area surrounded with agricultural zoning and agricultural residential zonings. And this is an aerial of the parcel, the subject parcel. That is the current zoning of agricultural. Future land use map of RR, rural residential. And this is the watershed. It's actually shared with Alcovy and Bear Creek. It's a current survey that was submitted. And based on the site plan submitted on April 27th of 2020 by the applicant, staff offers the following considerations. Land use and density. The applicant is proposing that the lot be rezoned from A to AR to settle a family estate. And in conclusion, given the fact that the property is zoned A and is in close proximity to similar parcels that are zoned AR, along with the applicant's proposed uses of the land, staff is of the opinion that the rezoning may be appropriate for the site. And recommended conditions. Should this petition be approved by the Board of Commissioners, it should be approved AR, agricultural residential, conditional, subject to the owner's agreement to the following enumerated conditions. Where these conditions conflict with the stipulations and offerings contained in the letter of intent, these conditions shall supersede unless specifically stipulated by the Board of Commissioners. 1, to the owner's agreement to abide by the following. A, any required permits must be obtained from development services before any construction or development on the property. And B, before the subdivision of the property, a minor plat must be submitted to development services and the parcel may not be subdivided into any parcel less than 2 acres. And I think that is it. If there are any questions, I do believe the applicant is here.
Thank you. We're going to open it up. Do questions. It is approximately 7:48. We're going to go ahead and open it up for our public hearing, and then we'll bring you back for questions. For the applicant and those that want to speak in favor tonight, You have 10 minutes to do so. If you would, please come and state your name, your address for the record, please. The applicant and those that want to speak in favor tonight.
Hi, I'm back. I'm Ernie Smith. I live here in Covington, of course, and trying to get my mother's estate settled, which is the reason for doing all of this. The zoning on the property, it's non-conforming A, really didn't have to rezone it, I don't guess, but it suited me while I was going through the process to go ahead and get everything squared away so that we could do away with the non-conforming A and have it rezoned to a more appropriate zoning, which follows along with county ordinances to AR. That's the reason for doing it. Happily, I can say I have a family member that's interested in building down there, so you know that's exciting for me personally. Any questions?
I think we're good.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else want to speak in favor tonight? Anyone else want to speak in favor tonight? That portion of our public hearing is closed. We also allow 10 minutes for those that want to oppose this tonight. If you would, please come and state your name and for the address. State your name and address for the record, please. You may come at this time. Anyone want to oppose tonight? You may come now and state your name, your address for the record, please. Anyone wants to oppose? That portion of our public hearing is closed as well. Commissioners, you have any questions? Seek a motion, please. Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Make a motion to approve rezoning case number REZ 20000007. Planning Commission recommend approval with staff's conditions by a vote of 4-0 at the July 28th, 2020 meeting.
Thank you, sir. It's been motioned by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Schultz. Any discussion? All in favor? It passes 5-0. Thank you. Ms. Shana.
Okay, our second case to this evening, it's a map correction. It is MC 20-000001. It's located in the Underwood Crossing subdivision off of Lotus Lane and Allspice Drive. The size of the parcel is 53.81 acres, and the tax ID number is 13-1. The existing land use map is residential. The existing zoning is agricultural residential. And the corrected zoning should be for R1 single family residential. And the BOC had actually approved this back on March 15th of 2005. And the case number for that rezoning case was REZ 04-054. It is located in the South River watershed and in Commissioner District 2. And the owner is Augustus Gwynn Vaughn Trust, UW item 7. And the petitioner is actually Development Services. And the request is to correct that portion of the parcel to the correct zoning of R1, single family residential. And again, the Planning Commission on July 28th of 2020 approved it with recommended conditions at a vote for 4-0. And this is where it's located. It's the northern portion, which is the second and third phase of Underwood Crossings. And the little triangle area is what we're correcting today to the R1 zoning. And that's it. If there are any questions?
Thank you, ma'am. We're gonna open it up. It is approximately 7:52. We're gonna open it up for those that want to speak in favor tonight. You have 10 minutes to do so. Please come and state your name, your address for the record, please. Anyone want to speak in favor tonight? That portion of our public hearing is closed. Anyone who want to oppose tonight, you also allowed 10 minutes to do so. Please come and state your name, your address for the record, please. Anyone wants to oppose tonight? That portion of our public hearing is closed as well. Commissioners, any questions tonight? I seek a motion, please.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we approve case R081820B, which is a map correction for 20-000001 to correct the portion of the parcel located in Underwood Crossing subdivision from AR, which is agricultural residential, to R1, which is single family residential.
Thank you, sir. It's been motioned by Commissioner Mason and second by Commissioner Cowan. Any discussion? All in favor? It passes 5-0. Thank you. Ms. Shane, if you would, please.
Okay, Chairman, our final case for this evening, it's another map correction. It's MC 20-000002. It's located at 1094 Access Road. It's a 0.46 acre parcel with a tax ID of 43-046. The existing land use map has it as commercial, and the existing zoning is R3. And we're correcting the zoning from highway commercial. It was approved in the BOC case on 10/21/1986. The watershed it's located in is the Yellow River, and it's in Commissioner District 4. The current owner is Scott H. Hubbard, and the petitioner again is Development Services. And the request is to correct the entire parcel to the correct zoning of the CH. This was also approved by the Planning Commission on July 28th, and the case was recommended at a vote of 4-0 with staff conditions. And this is what currently looks like, and this is what we're correcting. It's going to go over to the CH zoning as it was done previously by the Board of Commissioners. And this is the old aerial map showing where it was actually zoned CH. And if there are any questions?
Thank you. It is approximately 7:55. We're going to open it up for our public hearing comments. Those that want to speak in favor tonight, you have 10 minutes to do so. If you would, please come and state your name and your address for the record, please. You may come at this time. Anyone who want to speak in favor tonight? That portion of our public hearing is closed. We also allow 10 minutes for those that want to speak opposing this tonight. If you would, please come and state your name and address for the record, please. Anyone wants to oppose tonight? That portion of our public hearing is closed. Commissioners, any questions? I seek a motion, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So moved as stated by the planning and zoning.
Thank you. It's been motioned by Commissioner Henderson and second by Commissioner Mason. Any discussion? All in favor? It passes 5-0. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ms. Shana. I don't think I have anything else in the chairman's report. I'm sorry. Sarah, she's gonna come next board meeting. I don't think I have anything else in the chairman's report. I'm gonna turn it over to the county manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Have a few things this evening for you with slides. First, go to the next slide, please. This is a graph of our total employee population. We've had 7 new hires and 8 separations over the last month. Next slide, please. you can see that we are continuing to have quite a bit of permit activity, and our activity for single-family residential has increased. We had been averaging 50 or so permits per month, 50 to 60, and now we're at 70. I did hear a report today that overall nationwide housing starts are up 22% over last year. So that's a very positive sign for the country as well as for us here locally. Next slide, please. Those are your work orders that we've processed for July. And you'll see those numbers there. LMEG roads that we've worked on, City Pond, Fincher, and Pine Top Hill subdivision. The dirt roads that were in Sherwood Forest, we completed paving those roads. That has been a very problematic area for us because of the steepness of those roads and the amount of maintenance work that we've had to do on them in order to keep them passable over the last several years. So we decided to go ahead and pave those. And then we did have to do a culvert replacement on Elks Club Road. Next slide, please. The other thing that you have before you that you'll see here is the snapshot, COVID-19 snapshot of what's going on in Gwinnett, Newton, Rockdale, and then also on your desk there, you'll also see specifically for Newton County, we've had 2,015 cases, and the number of deaths that we've had here in Newton County has reached a total of 50. And then as of the midnight last on the 17th, we had 196 new cases that were outbreak related. And you can see the breakdown there on that page for the numbers of individuals that we've had by what age group and so forth. And all of this information is available both on the County Health Department's website, Gwinnett, Newton, Rockdale Health Departments, as well as there is a link from our website to this particular information as well. So, and that is, and you can see that information there. That shows a little bit more of the, some more in-depth information in a graphic form of the spikes and so forth that we've had in the number of reported cases. And so that concludes my report for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Guys, I did, Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My question is how many county employees have been exposed to the COVID-19?
At this point, I don't have a number on that, Commissioner. As far as I know, there were some reported cases last month, but as far as I know right now, there's not any reported county cases of Newton County employees.
Right. So how might I obtain the information?
I'm sorry?
How might I obtain the information as far as how many county employees?
How many?
Yes, because I was my understanding, I know, but I think last month it was about maybe 2. I'm not sure, so that's just why I want.
My understanding was there were 2 or 3 individuals that had been tested for positive.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, was there any other photographs there too? I just remembered that we also, I'm sorry about, we had these. Fire Station 8, the ground up there has been cleared, and so it will be moving shortly. We'll start seeing some actual foundation work and all being done. Next slide, please. This is an interior and exterior of the new building at Animal Services. And if you haven't had a chance to go by, I'd encourage you to go by. We are still in process for completing the interior of the existing building, but it's moving along very nicely, and you can see it's quite an improvement over what we had. Nice, well-lit, bright colors, and it's a very welcoming and open place. So next slide, please. And that's it. Thank you very much. For those of you who didn't make it, we did have a good time over at the senior center this morning for the luau in the parking lot. I won't say who, but her initials were Nancy Schultz, had a grass skirt on, and was over there doing the hula. So anyway, it was a good time, and the seniors certainly do enjoy having an opportunity to get out together and at least see each other. And so it was very well done, and kudos to Frida Reed and her staff over there.
And also, Mr. Kerr, we want to add that we did have 2 successful school supply giveaways, book bag giveaways from the rec department. I think they gave away close to 800 book bags, if I'm not mistaken. So with both of them combined, so that's great. We want to make sure. I don't want to leave that out. That was something that they did a great job with as well.
Yeah, they did a great job.
But I do need to back up the sheriff. He need to give out one more honor tonight, if you would, sir.
Thank you again, Mr. Chair. I guess I was so excited, and I've never been so excited to just pass something on, especially from the National Sheriff's Association. Also, we have the credentials of Deputy Turner to present to anytime we have an officer who retires or leave the office of sheriff. However, we always present them with their full credentials. So we want to pass on to Mr. Turner, Deputy Turner's son, his credentials of departing the office.
Thank you.
Again, we thank you on behalf of the Office of Sheriff. We thank you for the services that your father rendered to us and also to this community for the years of service that he spent with the Covington Police Department as well as the Office of Sheriff. We thank you so much, and always know that we are here to support you and your family. Thank you so much. God bless.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Kerr, as well. Next on the agenda, I seek a motion that we approve if there's no changes to the consent agenda. It's been motioned by Commissioner Mason and second by Commissioner Schultz. Any discussion? All in favor? Consent agenda is approved. Next is item number 9, Resolution R081820. A resolution of the Newton County Board of Commissioners endorsing to do our part so school can start initiative. County Attorney Sam.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Following up on the support for the digital learning that you expressed in a prior resolution this evening, this resolution is sort of generally in support of a countywide initiative to lower the community spread rate of COVID-19 so that in-person school can start as soon as possible in recognition of the invaluable service that in-person school provides to so many children and their parents. I guess I would take any questions or offer the opportunity of commissioners who supported this endeavor to speak.
Commissioner Schultz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think this Sam's done a really good job on this particular resolution. I think it's very important that all of us in leadership in the county do our part to make sure that we are working together to get students back into the school system. We understand that the Board of Education's role is on education, but whatever we can do to support them to get students back. And the biggest obstacle to that is the community spread. And so we want to make sure that we're doing everything that we can to lower that community spread, as well as provide alternative infrastructure opportunities until that spread is down. One thing that I would like to add, and I think that it's reasonable under the now therefore be it resolved, item number 1 says all county residents are strongly encouraged to practice social distancing and hygiene measures. I'd like to add after hygiene measures, including the use of masks and staying home when sick, that serve to reduce the community spread of COVID-19. So to add that particular segment, that would be all county residents are strongly encouraged to practice social distancing and hygiene measures, including the use of masks and staying home when sick, that serve to reduce the community spread of COVID-19.
Anyone else? Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this resolution was put together by who again?
I wrote it. I believe some of the commissioners wanted to see a general expression of what's in here.
So the school system didn't give us what they wanted us to actually say, right?
The school system, they gave us some, they support this, yeah. They have seen this, and they do support this.
But the school system's request did not include the use of masks, right?
No.
Thank you,
Not
Mr.
that I
Chairman.
know of. I got one more. Commissioner Mason.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to thank Sam for doing a great job on putting this resolution together. I think it is very important for our children's safety. I am a major proponent of our children's safety. As a matter of fact, I have 3 children in Newton County school system. I think Chairman Baines may have 2 in the school system. I think we're the only 2 board members that have school-age children. And so it's important for us to ensure that our students are safe, even when they do decide to go back into the school system, that there is social distancing in place. There, of course, is definitely a big issue with masks. I do believe that that is important. What we want to understand is that the mask is really to protect others from yourself. So as you're wearing masks, if you cough or sneeze, it's preventing your cough or sneeze to get to someone else. So I think it's just doing a great service to our communities by having those in place. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Schultz.
Just to answer Mr. Edwards, this particular resolution is not to say what the school system should do in the school. This is about how to reduce the community spread outside of the school system. We don't want to infringe upon what the school board is doing within the school system. So the use of masks is not to encourage use of masks during the school day or in the schools. It is about reducing the community spread outside of school.
Any questions? Go ahead, Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Schultz, yeah, I knew that. I wanted to make sure I understood what the schools had the school system relayed their desire for our resolution to us and what they would like to see in that resolution. My question, I guess, was when they relayed that to us, if they relayed that to us, did they add the use of masks? Did they intend to add the use of masks to that?
I let me say this. If you go back up to item number 9, we just passed a resolution that says Newton County Board of Commissioners endorsing a do our part so school can start initiative. You know, if you're not asking to put on masks, what is our part? I mean, we can wash our hands and we, stay 6 feet apart. But if we don't wear masks, all of that is really null. So doing our part, I think doing our part is putting on a mask. And that's my opinion. Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I too, even though I seen we have a young a niece/daughter whom I pay for all her clothes and stuff, who live with us, Cindy and I. And it's hard to keep a mask on her face when she's going out somewhere, but we constantly remind her. And anybody with just a little bit know that kids, young kids, 11, 12 and younger, have two young grandkids, CJ, and he's in his 2nd grade. And it's very hard for his mother, to keep a mask on his face. And then his sister, who's should be starting in pre-K, who's going to be home too. Cupcake, that's my Cupcake. Cupcake, you forget about putting a mask on her face. But let's just make a long story short. We just trying to do the best that we can to encourage people, excuse me, and their families to do what we can to protect our kids and just protect everybody. And so, that's all we can do. We can't make nobody, because at the end of the day, they probably gonna do what they want to do. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Anyone else? Commissioner Edwards.
Sorry, Mr. Chair, one more thing. I don't get me wrong. I strongly encourage the use of masks. But I just didn't want us to, if the Board of Education had handed us something, asked us to something verbatim, I didn't want us to misrepresent what they had given us. But what you're telling me, this is our interpretation of what we need to do.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? I seek a motion, please. Commissioner Schultz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to make a motion to approve Resolution R081820, a resolution of the Newton County Board of Commissioners endorsing a do our part so school can start initiative. With the additions of including the use of masks and staying home at 6 on the number 1.
Okay. It's been motioned by Commissioner Schultz and it was second first by Commissioner Mason, so I'm gonna honor that. It was motioned by Commissioner Schultz, second by Commissioner Mason. Any more discussion? All in favor? It passes 5-0. Next is 9A, a new mask ordinance. Guys, this is really important to us tonight. I'm gonna let Sam get started, but we also have Dr. Arona from the health department on call as well. So we're gonna tag her in so that we can hear from her after Sam gets through presenting this ordinance.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So as you may have heard, on this past Saturday, the governor issued a new executive order allowing cities and counties that pass a threshold requirement, which is 100 confirmed COVID-19 cases per 100,000 people, to implement a local mask requirement if they so choose. Newton County has about 10 times the number of cases per 100,000 to qualify under that threshold requirement. And so although there are some restrictions that must be put on our requirement per the governor's executive order, we do qualify to impose one. The proposed ordinance that you have in front of you is actually not only does it include the exceptions that are required by the governor, it also includes a number of other important exceptions. So I will first describe what is required, and then I will go through all the exceptions and times when it is not required, including notably when a business does not want us to enforce it in their property. So if you have a child who is 8 years old or younger, it is, as a parent, it's up to you to decide whether you want them to wear a mask or not. Everyone over 8 must wear a face covering or mask in a public place, and that does not include your home. It does not include your vehicle. So with that broad requirement in mind, here are some of the most important exceptions. When social distancing is possible and being practiced, so that would probably include just about every time you're outside, unless you're in a crowd, in personal vehicles, on residential property, on private property where the owner or occupant does not consent to enforcement, that would be like a business, where a medical provider has advised against the use of the mask, to the extent the mask interferes with services like haircuts or makeup, to the extent you're eating or drinking anything, to the extent it's necessary to identify yourself to law enforcement or purchase alcohol, to the extent it's required for your job, and to the extent that you have a medical condition or a religious belief that is bona fide and interferes with the use of the mask. And I will take any questions you may have.
Guys, I'm gonna let Dr. Rona give us a quick update, and then I'll let you open it up for questions. Dr. Rona, are you there?
I am here. Can you hear me okay?
We can. Thank you for joining us tonight. I got a lot of people waiting to hear from you, so if you would, can you give us an update on the numbers and kind of what's going on in our state, and then what's going on in our county, please?
Yes, sir. I certainly will. And good evening, everyone. Worldwide, we have now over 21.9 million cases of COVID and over 777,000 deaths. In the United States now, we have near 5.5 million cases with over 171,000 deaths. Georgia this evening, as of 4 p.m., sits at 242,530 cases. And of those cases, we have lost 4,818 people. The median age for Georgia is 40, and the hospitalization percentage of the cases is at 9%. For Newton County, we sit at 2,069 cases and 50 deaths. Median age of our cases is 45, and 10% of our cases have required hospitalization. Of the deaths, our median age is 83, and our hospitalizations of our deaths are at 60%. What's important to note is recently the Georgia Department of Public Health has released 14-day data that's more actually reflective of the level of community spread that we're facing at this time. A lot of reports are based on overall positivity from day one, which is way back in March. But the 14-day case rate is better to really understand the level of community transmission that we face. So let me start with Georgia. And Georgia's 14-day case rate, that is the number of new cases per 100,000 population, is at 420. That is very high. Anything over 100 per 100,000 cases is considered high. The state is 420 now, but that has declined from a week ago, which was 457. And for the last 2 consecutive weeks, the number has declined, but it's still obviously in the high category. We also look at positivity rate of the 14-day period. and the state sits today at 9.8%. Anything above 10% is considered high. So 9.8% is considered moderate transmission. And it's the first time we've seen under 10% for the state. Last week, that level was 11%. We also look on this dashboard at emergency department visits related to COVID. And the state for this past period is 4.8%, and that is down from 5.3%. So again, all indicators with Georgia, the trends and the numbers in the last 14-day case period is improving for the last 2 weeks. For Newton County, on the other hand, the 14-day case rate today sits at 370 per 100,000 population. And that is increasing from last week. Last week's was 346 per 100,000. The overall positivity for Newton County this week is 12.4%, which of course is high because anything over 10% is high. And that is increased from the previous period where it was 11.8%. As far as the emergency room visits for COVID, for Newton County, it sits this week at 4.1%. And that, of course, is increased, not a whole lot, but increased from the prior period at 3.8%. So you can see that all the indicators that are that we're using, to really look at the overall transmission of COVID within our community. We know that all counties in Georgia at this time have widespread community transmission, but looking at the 14-day case rates and positivity in that period of time can give you kind of a sense as to whether you're improving or not. And Newton County sits today at a higher level than prior. Now, we know that community mitigation measures work. We know that works, and these are the only things that we can do to stop this virus. So wearing a mask, coupled with social distancing, washing our hands, staying home when you're sick, and of course, staying away from people who are sick, doing all of these things can certainly stop the virus. And in my mind, every single COVID case and every single COVID death is preventable if we could all just really latch on to these things and push it community-wide. That's my report, Chairman. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Guys, any questions for Dr. Rona before we get back to Sam? I do have one. Commissioner Edwards is going to ask a question. Let me know if you cannot hear him, please.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Arona. What is the recommendation for your style of face covering or mask? Is there a minimum stitch? Is there a minimum? What's your recommendation in turn? Is it one of those? I think they had a special number back when we first started. Yeah, N95 or whatever it was. Is there a special recommendation for those from you?
Well, yes, sir. N95s are hard to get in supply, and so we really don't recommend that anyone use those except for healthcare personnel that are actually dealing with COVID patients. Even within the hospitals, surgical masks do just fine for most of the hospital personnel, and anyone working directly with COVID patients who are confirmed positive would be wearing the N95s. And, you have to be fitted for them, and, they're very specialized masks. And of course, the next best thing would be a surgical mask. But there was an article written earlier this week that the only type of mask where they feel like the transmission is increased are those neck masks where you raise them from your neck to your, I forget what they call those, but where you raise them from your neck to your mouth and over your nose. But especially any cotton facial covering is thought to be more than adequate.
Anyone else have anything? Thank you, Commissioner Edwards. Thank you, Dr. Rona. Anyone have any more questions for Dr. Rona? Commissioner Schultz.
I don't have a question for Dr. Arona. I think you were very thorough. I think it's very clear what we need to do. Obviously, we need to reverse the trend, and whatever we can do to reverse the trend and keep the trend down in a downward trajectory is critical for the health and safety of our community. So thank you for being so thorough and making it very clear exactly what what's ahead of us. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Anyone else have any questions for Dr. Arona? So, Dr. Arona, do you recommend that we use a mask filter?
A mask filter?
Uh-huh.
I'm not sure what you mean.
There's a filter that goes inside of some of the masks. Some of them have like little pouches on the inside. Do we need to put filters in those, or?
No, you don't have to. There's not been shown anything that those are better. Any facial covering that is cotton or has a couple layers is going to be more than adequate. Remember, masks really protect others from you,
Mm-hmm.
and because we have to really assume everyone next to you is positive and that you're positive too. And so the more that we do that, plus couple with that social distance and the other measures, that's what will stop and halt this virus in its tracks. But the mask, I mean, as long as you have a facial covering, that's not one of those from the neck that you move up. Those are going to be adequate. You don't have to add filters to it. You don't have to add those vents. Some of them have vents for when you're exercising because it's hard to exercise with a mask. I hope that answered your question, but you don't have to have filters for them.
Thank you much. That
Sure.
does answer my question. Guys, anything else before we let Dr. Arona go? Dr. Arona, thank you so much for all that you do, and thank you for keeping us informed. We greatly appreciate you.
Oh, you're so welcome. Anytime I can do anything for you, let me know.
All right, thank you so much. Have a good evening.
You're welcome. Okay, you too. Bye-bye.
So guys, we back with Sam. Any questions for Sam tonight? Commissioner Mason.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just have one question. When looking at the ordinance under, let me see what section it is, under exemptions, number 14, where it says at any polling place as defined under OCGA 21-2-227, and no individual shall be denied ingress or egress to or from a polling place for failure to wear a face covering or a mask. It has been brought to my attention, or the question has been posed to me, just to provide clarity in regards to this section. Is this in regards to the administration building because it is a county-owned property? Or is this just to individual polling places outside of our administrative building?
So I'll start my answer by saying that this language is taken verbatim from the governor's executive order. So I'm sort of interpreting, I guess, what he was trying to say. If it's not a county building, then this definitely would apply. You wouldn't be able to bar anyone from coming in. The governor's executive order does say that the county can restrict mask or can require mask use in its own buildings. So that is a tricky question. I would say that probably the best answer I could give you is we would have to let people into a county building on their way to the polling place, but if they were to detour from their path into other areas of the building, we could require them to wear a mask.
Okay. So in other words, whenever we have, like, say, early voting that takes place at our administrative building, because it's a county-owned property, we can require them to wear masks. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I would say for the limited time and purpose of polling, we probably cannot require them to wear a mask.
Okay, so if we cannot, then is there something that we can put in place where, as the county, we provide masks for those that come in, where they can have it while they're making their selections, and then, of course, they can take it off when they go out, so we can.
I think that's a great idea either way, but I don't know that we could, even if we provided them, we could require someone to wear them.
Wear it.
But let me, you know what, I want to look into that further because that's a tricky one. And I'll get back with everyone on that.
Yeah, because that question was posed to me, and I know the individual polling places outside of our administrative building probably, it would be up to that particular polling location to decide if they wanted to. Now, of course, they can't say you can't come in and vote because you aren't mandated, because you don't have a mask. But I did hear that some locations, what they were doing were at least providing those for citizens so that they can at least have them, strongly encourage them to do that while they're in. But I wanted to make sure that our administrative building, because it is a county property, how that would fit into this polling place since it is a county-owned facility.
Give me a day to figure that out. I'll return your question.
We definitely need to
Okay,
get
great.
clarification on that.
Yeah.
Definitely. That's a good point.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Commissioner Edward.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, under requirement to wear a face mask or covering, number one, all persons present in unincorporated Newton County who are over the age of 8 years old are required to utilize face covering masks in any public place except as exempted herein. So within the city limits of Covington, Oxford, Porterdale, Mansfield, and New Bern, we don't have to wear a mask.
I don't think
Go ahead.
Sorry. I don't think we have jurisdiction
Right.
there. Yeah.
Right. So, looking at these exemptions, where would we have to wear a mask? Where would we be required to wear a mask if this passes?
If you were in a grocery store outside of those cities, I'm assuming there's some, or any kind of, certainly any county park or something like that.
Outside?
Right. Well, if you were having in a picnic shelter where there were lots of people milling around and you could not maintain social distancing while being in that shelter, or if you were in a store outside of a city and you could not maintain social distancing, I think those would be two core examples.
Does this carry over to, if the school system were to start back tomorrow, does this carry over to the schools? Do we have that jurisdiction?
I know that schools are covered elsewhere in the governor's executive order, so that might be another one where I just have to take a look at that and see how it.
Okay, and to close that out, Mr. Chairman, I strongly encourage the use of face coverings, but the ambiguity here is, and the enforcement. I mean, that's going to be next to impossible. So, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Let's let Sam go over D on this, if you don't mind.
Okay, sorry. It was brought to my attention that on the next page it talks about schools, and I just forgot. So on D2, page 4, it says all schools, daycares, and other child care establishments should develop face covering policies, with the implication that our ordinance does not govern those areas.
So just to make sure we're clear, if we are in the unincorporated county, outside the city limits, and you go to Walmart and you out there in the parking lot, and people are walking back and forth in and out of the store, you need to have on a mask. Is that correct?
That's kind of a gray zone because in theory, it being outside, you should be able to socially distance in the parking lot. But I mean, I guess as you approach the entrance to the store and it gets a little more crowded, then yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Commissioner Schultz.
So I think a good example is the Square Park, because that is a county-owned property. That's not, the county has jurisdiction over that park. So in the Square Park, where you may have groups
Concerts.
of people, they should wear a mask unless they can socially distance. And I think it's just good practice. I mean, if you can socially distance, you're given an exemption, but if you are not in a position to socially distance, out of respect for the as Dr. Arona said, the wearing of a mask is to protect the other person from you. It's not so much to protect you. So it's about doing the right thing to make sure that we are protecting each other, and that ultimately we're bringing the spread down. Because as she said, 11.8% is the positivity rate now, which is up. We need to have that going in the opposite direction. And so I think that looking at these exemptions, there are enough exemptions available that people can look at those exemptions and say, I can be responsible and socially distance, but if I can't do that, then I know I need to wear a mask. And that's what we are requiring.
Guys, I would go out there to say this. I know for a fact no one wants to wear a mask. I know that. Mr. Curry is crying over there because, we had a conversation today about a mask. And I know for a fact no one wants to wear a mask. But guys, if we're going to do our part, if we're going to be a part of that initiative, we need to do our part. And Dr. Rona, I had a long meeting today with the CEO of Piedmont Newton, and he suggested that him and Dr. Norris would come and give us an update because they require all their employees to wear masks. He said that's how important it is to help stop this spread. So if we're going to do our part, we really need to try to do our part. And so I encourage you tonight. I normally don't do this, but I encourage you tonight to pass this. We started with passing a resolution that says we're going to do our part. So we need to end up doing the same thing. Commissioner Schultz.
So, Mr. Chair, I do know that members of the school board went yesterday to the hospital, and they met with the CEO of the hospital and Dr. Little. And, the hospital requires all of their employees to wear masks. And they have not had transmission from patients to hospital employees because the hospital employees are wearing masks. It works. It makes a difference. And if we're going to make a difference, we need to do the right thing. So with that, I would move for approval of ordinance 081820, an ordinance of the Newton County Board of Commissioners, amending Chapter 31, General Offenses to enact an ordinance addressing the wearing of a face covering or mask while in public places and for other purposes.
It's been motioned by Commissioner Schultz and second by Commissioner Mason. Any more discussion? Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll state again, I fully support wearing masks, but I do not support mandating masks. We're saying we don't trust our citizens to do the right thing. And I look at 14 different exemptions. I don't know where you're going to have to wear one looking at this list. I mean, there's so many places you don't have to. You have to describe where you're going to have to. And I can't think of anywhere that I can't social distance. So I'm sorry. I support wearing masks. I would like to ask every citizen in Newton County to wear a mask, but I will not make them wear a mask. I will not vote to make them wear a mask. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Hold on 1 second.
I just want to take the opportunity to answer Commissioner Mason's question, so you all have the information before you vote. A county administration building which has a mandatory mask requirement must still allow people in without a mask if it is a polling place for the purpose of voting.
Thank you. Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to say this. 2 months ago, my first cousin, Robert Ross Jr., he's a year older than me, 65 years of age. He died from COVID-19. When my kinfolks who lived in Nelson Heights on his father's side brought me an obituary, they said we didn't invite nobody to the funeral. And I would have loved to have went to the funeral and said and talked about the good times that we had when we were growing up. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Cowan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Prior to the governor stepping in back in, I guess, April, we had already adopted an ordinance basically for social distancing and things like that. I think, and part of that was encouraging wearing a mask, if I'm not mistaken. So we've already been down this road. I've read the ordinance that the county attorney has prepared, and it's reasonable to me. I think this goes beyond, the mandates and everything. I don't like wearing a mask either. But it's a safety issue, it's a health safety issue. And, you don't know what the impact of this is going to have, but hopefully it reduces the spread of COVID-19. So I would be in support of this.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? All in favor? All opposed? Thank you. It passes 4-1. Next is item number 10. Sheriff Office requesting approval of contract with basic amount for $480,000. Is that Mr. Kerr?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This contract with Base 6 is for an upgrade to the fire and alarm system at the jail, as well as in the existing sheriff's office and in the expansion to the sheriff's office. And so we'd simply request that the board approve this contract.
Thank you, sir. Commissioners, any questions? I seek a motion, please. It's been motioned by Commissioner Henderson and second by Commissioner Mason. Any discussion? All in favor? It passes 5-0. Thank you. Next, finance requesting for budget transfer for sheriff office. Ms. Brittany.
Good evening, thank you.
Thank you.
This budget amendment coincides with the contract that you did just approve. The alarm system upgrade was budgeted partially in FY20, and there's $250,000 budgeted in FY21 for this. Since there was issues with the first contract, we were not able to get the funds encumbered in FY20 since we did not have a vendor. So we are requesting to move the funds to the capital improvement funds so that we can utilize those funds in FY21. And I'll answer any questions that you do have.
Thank you, ma'am. Commissioners, any questions? Commissioner Schultz.
So Brittany and I had a conversation this afternoon, and I'd just like for her to go over I have to admit, I was a little bit dense on how we were making these transfers, and I would like for Brittany to just explain that, this is basically, we're taking out, money from the small equipment fund, and we're putting it into the capital improvement fund. But then what we're going to do is, we're going to have two separate purchase orders. One is going to come from the capital improvement fund, and one is going to come from the general fund. Is that correct?
We'll have one purchase order. The one purchase order will have two funding sources.
Okay.
So the first funding source will be the capital improvement fund, and the second funding source will be the FY21 general fund sheriff's budget.
So this is coming out of the FY20 budget. Part of it's coming out of the 20 budget, and part of it's coming out of the 21 budget. And what I said to Brittany is, I just don't think that's a good habit to be in, where we take money for one project out of two separate budget years. I think it would be better to make sure that we put it in whatever budget year we want, but then have the money encumbered so that it's a cleaner accounting process. I just think that this coming out of two separate budget years is confusing, and especially when we have to make so many audit entries.
Yes, no, in the future, I would like to see the long-term projects be budgeted solely in the capital fund and not in the general fund. So in case we have instances where there was a holdup in construction or contract issues, then we're not having to do things like this.
And this was a project that's been delayed a couple of years. And the reason it was split was because we were unable to fully fund it in FY20. So the thought process was we could fund half of the project and we could encumber that money, and then that would carry us over into FY21. But like, as Brittany stated, you may recall the difficulties we had with this contract, where it was brought in and it had to be rebid and so forth. So I agree, it's not the ideal thing, but there have been cases in the recent past where we've had to split things over 2 years in order to make sure we had a balanced budget, and this was one of those instances.
And just to be clear, this, we didn't discuss this with the previous item, but it's germane to this. This is a different company than the one that we,
Yeah, I think so.
that we delayed on previously.
Right.
So, I mean, it seems to be that it's extraordinary, but I don't think we need to make this a usual practice.
Yeah, no, I mean, we haven't, and I agree, I don't think we should, and we haven't done it except in a few cases where it's been, as I said, just so that we could make sure we balance the budget and still would be able to at least begin projects that we knew we would needed to do, so.
Anyone else? Commissioner Henderson.
Lord, could you just briefly refresh my memory? Because I guess I got lost somewhere.
Oh, sure.
I didn't catch the question. Do you mind repeating it?
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Could you refresh my memory with what project that we taken from one budget and then come back, I guess this budget, is what I'm hearing, and we're paying for? What are we paying for?
The original $250 for the project was budgeted in an FY20. So currently there's $257,000 still sitting in the equipment line in the sheriff's budget. So we're going to move that to the capital improvement fund, because the capital improvement fund is a multi-year fund, which allows us to utilize funds for longer than just one fiscal year.
I'm good. I get it now.
Anyone else? Thank you. I seek a motion, please.
So moved as stated by Ms. Brittany.
Can I get a second, please? It's been motioned by Commissioner Henderson and second by Commissioner Mason. Any more discussion? All in favor? It passes 5-0. Thank you so much. Next is Public Works requesting the Board of Commissioners to award the right-of-way acquisition for services to BK and MPC for a transportation project. Mr. Kerr.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our transportation engineer, Chester Clegg, is here. I'm going to ask him to address that, to talk about these individual projects.
Chester, while you're on your way up, is it BM and K instead of BK and M?
I think that's a typo. That's
Okay.
correct. Thank you.
So we'll just correct that in the record. Instead of BK and M, the company's name is BM and K.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So we have three federal projects, federally funded projects, two bridges that we're replacing on Brown Bridge Road. And then we have the bypass at the Access Road, Crowell Road, and I-20. And so we have moved on to the right-of-way acquisition phase for the two bridges, and will soon be in the acquisition phase for the bypass. And we're proposing to hire one company to do all the right-of-way acquisition. About 32 parcels are involved, and we put out a RFP and had 6 responses, and BM&K was the one chosen by the selection committee.
Any questions, Commissioner? Commissioner Schultz.
So, Chester, I just need to understand, the $160,000 is the amount that's in the pot for the land acquisition, for actually acquiring the land? Or is it just to pay this company?
No, there's more, obviously, between the 3 projects. I don't know the exact number, but there's several $100,000 that the county have to pay and be reimbursed 100% from FHWA to purchase the properties. But that's just for the consultant.
That's for their consulting work and.
Because they negotiate with the owners. If it has to go to condemnation, they work with our attorneys through that. There are a lot of unknowns, so that is an estimate.
And if there are any, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, if I may, if there are any relocations like we had at the Flat Shoals project, Flat Shoals and Bypass project, BM&K also helped to find housing for those people who had to be relocated. That was all in as part of their contract as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Chester. Any more questions, guys?
So then we can't do a not to exceed amount on this one?
I mean, you certainly can, but I'd have to, like I said, I don't know. On the 6 proposals, we got unit prices on all the different items that the work that they'd be doing. And so BM&K was the least expensive, had the cheapest prices, and of course they're certainly qualified. But it would be possible to do a not to exceed.
Anyone else? I seek a motion, please. Commissioner Schultz.
Move for approval to award the right-of-way acquisition to BMK for transportation projects 0015095, 0015096, and 0015097 in the amount of $160,000.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. It's been a motion by Commissioner Schultz and second by Commissioner Mason. Any more discussion? All in favor? It passes 5-0. Thank you so much. Next is item number 13. Consideration of construction maintenance and indemnification agreement among Newton County, Georgia, and Georgia Association of Future Farmers of America with Robert White Akins and Travis Campbell Akins and Roxanne C. Akins for the FFA Camp Road.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, sir.
This is an agreement that arises out of the FFA's desire to construct a new checkpoint on FFA Camp Road. It currently has a checkpoint near the intersection of Highway 36, but they want to relocate it further down onto that road and to create a turnaround. The FFA acknowledges that the current checkpoint impedes traffic, and it has secured a state grant to fund the construction of this new checkpoint. According to this agreement, the county would actually be constructing the checkpoint and the turnaround, and the FFA would be fully reimbursing us for the costs as well as indemnifying us for any harms that may arise out of having this checkpoint in a county right-of-way. As a legal office, we would note that it is somewhat non-standard to allow a private party to put a checkpoint on county right-of-way, but it is anticipated that once the checkpoint is put in, and with the board's grace, we would then abandon the portion of the road beyond the checkpoint so that it becomes an FFA-maintained private road and no longer has the awkwardness of having a private checkpoint on a county right-of-way. The Aiken family is on the other side of the road, and this agreement addresses their needs insofar as the Aikens will move their driveway to the, county side of the checkpoint, and the FFA will compensate them for the cost of doing that. And I'll happy to take any questions on this.
Thank you. Any questions, commissioners? Commissioner Edwards?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't have a question. I have a comment. This has been a very contentious issue down on FFA Camp Road. I believe we all sat down on a conference call. I remember it being cold because I was in my vehicle and came to this conclusion or this agreement. So I would appreciate the support if we can get this done tonight. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? I seek a motion, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Motion to approve maintenance and indemnification agreement among Newton County, Georgia, Georgia Association of Future Farmers of America, Robert White Aiken, Travis Campbell Aiken, and Roxanne C. Aiken for FFA Camp Road.
Second.
It's been motioned by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Schultz. Any more discussion? All in favor? It passes 5-0. Thank you. Next, discussion and consideration of a quick claim deed for the transfer of Savannah Drive right away to Mansfield. Sam?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Savannah Drive is a small subdivision. It is located entirely within the city of Mansfield. However, when the developer filed its plat, the plat contained an error in which the right-of-way of Savannah Drive was dedicated to the county. So this is just a cleanup item wherein the county quitclaims its interest to the city for purposes of maintaining what is a city road.
Thank you. Any questions? I seek a motion, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll make a motion to approve a quitclaim deed for the transfer of Savannah Drive right-of-way to Mansfield.
Second.
It's been motioned by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Schultz. Any discussion? All in favor? It passes 5-0. Thank you. Next is facilities purchasing, requesting approval of change order for 5 fields and the amount of $13,317. Mr. Kerr.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have an annual contract with a company called Five Fields to do all of the lawn care and landscape maintenance for our facilities. And we have recently added some additional areas for them to maintain. Those are the juvenile facility over at Hazelbrand Road, which is the also referred to as the community. There, now I'm drawing a blank. The community center that was just recently finished a couple of years ago over there by the library. The next area is the Judicial Center expansion. There's a large landscaped area behind that building now that is being cared for. And then the Cousins Community Center, and also there are 4 vacant lots that are located in Fairview Estates that were part of the NSP program. And we have also added those to be regularly mowed. So the agreement needs to be amended so that the annual fee would be increased to 60. It's an increase of flat annual fee to $77,070, and the monthly fee would be $64.22. And under Section B would be the annual fee would be $82,734, and the monthly fee would be $68.94 to cover those areas, those other additional areas around Cousins and all. So that's what's being requested at this point, is for us to amend that.
Thank you, sir. Any questions, guys? I seek a motion, please.
Mr. Chair, I move for approval of the change order for 5 fields in the amount of $13,317.
It's been motioned by Commissioner Schultz and second by Commissioner Edwards. Any discussion? All in favor? It passes 5-0. Thank you so much. Next is item number 16, Animal Service, Senior Service Purchasing. Requesting approval of Addendum 1 for Project Manager, Mr. Kerr.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Jeff Prine, who has been acting as our project manager for those 2 projects, is here with us tonight. And so I would ask that Jeff address you all to explain the request for the change there.
Good evening. So the request is because the actual projects have pushed out further than our original estimates. When we put our original estimates of time and dates, we estimated that the projects would be completed by August the 10th. But this earlier part of this, the first quarter of this year, we received a tremendous amount of weather delays that delayed the projects and pushed them out 22 days. And so our estimated time for final completion is now October 10th. So this is just to give us additional time to help to finalize the projects and close them out.
Thank you, sir. Any questions, guys? Commissioner Schultz.
So Jeff, I know it's not a lot of money, but where is this money coming from?
Basically, it's coming, the projects had a contingency that we used to pay for like other kind of conditions that we had, so it'll be coming out of that contingency.
So there's not going to have to be any kind of budget amendment or
No,
anything
ma'am.
like that? It's just coming out of that?
Yes,
And
ma'am.
it's split 50-50 between
It is
that?
split 50-50 between each project, yes, sir.
Anyone else? Thank you, sir. I seek a motion, guys.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion. We approve the requesting approval of Addendum 1 for Project Manager, Ascension over Animal Services, Senior Services Contract, amount $8,500. Funding, budgeted yes, and the funding source is the 2017 SPLOST.
Second.
It's been motioned by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Schultz. Any more discussion? All in favor? It passes 5-0. Thank you. Item number 17, board consideration of purchase agreement for 0.64 acres of fee simple in the amount of $9,733.11 for installation of Northwood Oak Drive improvement project. Mr. Sam.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So Northwood Oak Drive may be familiar to you. I think you've been briefed on this issue by my wife before. It's a interior subdivision road, but it's a county road. And there's a need to create a school bus turnaround at the end, for which additional right-of-way needed to be acquired, along with some compensation to the owner for sort of an awkward sliver of land that's created once we take that right-of-way. In combination, those property rights were appraised at $9,000. In negotiations with the landowner, we were able to come to the amount of $9,733, which is less than 10% above appraisal value, and thus we deem a reasonable and fair price. And so this would just be seeking authorization to promptly close on the procurement of that right-of-way and property.
Thank you. I seek a motion, please. Commissioner Schultz.
Mr. Chair, this is in District 3, and I would strongly encourage that we approve this in the amount of this purchase agreement for the 0.64 acres, the amount of $9,733.11. This will, of this amount of money, the tax liability will also be satisfied on this project.
Thank you. Can I get a second, please? Second. Thank you. It's been motioned by Commissioner Schultz and second by Commissioner Edwards. Any more discussion? All in favor? It passes 5-0. Thank you. Next is item number 22, alcohol license final reading. Quickie Stop 11230, Georgia 36, Covington, Georgia 30014, Kareem Allah, District 5. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Approve the final reading for Quick Stop 11230, Georgia Highway 36, Covington, Georgia 30014, Kareem Ali on it. Motion to approve.
Second.
Who's second? Commissioner Schultz. All right. It's been motioned by Commissioner Cowan and second by Commissioner Schultz. Any discussion? All in favor? It passes 5-0. Thank you. Next is citizens' comments. This is an opportunity that we allow citizens to come up and make comments. You have 3 minutes to do so about any topic. You may comment this time. Please state your name, your address for the record, please. Citizens' comments. Any citizen want to make a comment? Thank you so much. That portion of our board meeting is closed. I want to start with Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't have anything other than, I want to say again, I typically do wear this in here when I'm not behind the bulletproof shields, but I would have this on, but I'm good right here, right now, I think. So, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Mason.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to say I think this board did a great job tonight with passing the mask ordinance. I think it's very important for our community to do everything that we can to protect each other. And I think it's just a courteous thing to do, to wear a mask whenever you're unable to socially distance 6 feet. It's just protecting your neighbor, being courteous of them. And so I want to continue to strongly urge our citizens in Newton County, until we can really slow down or stop or decrease the spread, if we can just be courteous to each other. We are one Newton, and we say that all the time. And I think if we can, on major initiatives like this one, if we can come together and support the initiative, versus looking at things from a negative aspect, if we can look at things from a positive aspect, I think we will help really address major initiatives and major concerns within our community a lot faster. And this is just temporary. Sometimes we as a community, we have to make short-term sacrifices for long-term gains. And I think the short-term sacrifice is doing everything we can to wash our hands, socially distance, wear masks when necessary, indoors. I know outdoors it's probably not a major factor, but when you're indoors and you can't socially distance, to wear those masks, it's just a short-term sacrifice. I don't believe that we're going to be wearing masks for the next 10, 20, 30 years. I think maybe this is going to be definitely, hopefully, within the next year or two. If we come together now, work together as a community to do our part, I think we can address this concern a lot faster, and we can slow it down, decrease it a lot faster and sooner, so that we can not have to wear them. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Commissioner Schultz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think that I'd just like to reiterate what Commissioner Mason said. In the medical community, we've learned a lot over the last 6 to 8 months about COVID-19. The way we treated it in the beginning is very different than the way we're treating it now. But the one thing that is emerging, and is a consensus among the medical community, is that masks save lives. And that is something that is emerging as the most important deterrent for this particular infection. So I encourage you to do your part. We need to do our part to stop the spread and to continue to advocate for wearing the mask, social distancing, staying at home when you're sick, and washing your hands. Now, Friday is the Almond Turner golf tournament, and it happens to be at the Oaks Golf Course. We will be distributing masks. Dewan also has masks for distribution, so if you're going to play, we'll have a mask for you. We do want to support Mr. Turner's family, and so I encourage you, the tournament is full, but I encourage you to come out and support the family. Lastly, I had the privilege today of attending the luau at the senior center, and yes, I did don a grass skirt, and it was it's an old grass skirt, so it's probably on its last leg. But during the time that I was out there, Frida took me on a tour of the new senior center, and so I would encourage you. Hopefully there will be a grand opening at the end of September, October, where we can see it all in person. But between now and then, ask Frida to give you a tour. It is just a beautiful facility and such an asset to our community and a great place for our seniors. I also had the privilege of taking a feral cat over to the new animal services building, and it is a nice facility too. So I'm really proud of how we're utilizing our 2017 SPLOST. And I think we're doing great by the citizens of this county with the facilities that we've created. So thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Earlier in the meeting, I came and I handed out these flyers, and it's about the an academy that we have put together with OL Humphrey over in Nelson Heights. And what it does is that we were afraid that some of the kids would just kind of slip through the cracks because kids at home, when they're at home, they sometimes don't do what they need to do or what they should be doing. And there would be another option as far as trying to assist them in getting maybe doing their homework. We understand that it should be a small group of kids, but nevertheless, it still got to be somebody there that knows exactly what they need to be doing. And in case you lose the Chromebook that the school gives them, they still have a book that they could use in order to get their homework in, or call somebody and tell them what to do about the homework, or put it in the projector and have a phone conference, well, not a phone conference, but a conference with the teacher or teachers. And we know that it'd be good because he's a former principal who has the desire to help kids, him and his wife and others, and we're looking forward for this program. So we just wanted to drop this off, make sure that all the commissioners knew, and with Lord, and maybe sometime this week, maybe we get on a phone conference or something, and we look at maybe Splash can fund some of this stuff, and then maybe the grant money that we had talked so much about, then maybe we could apply to help pay a couple of people to be on hand to help to assist those kids with helping them with their homeworks and stuff. And we think that's good. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Cowell. I'm sorry. Commissioner Edwards. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My apologies, and thank you for letting me say one last thing. Commissioner Henderson's flyer reminded me that we have a lot of organizations, churches, community centers, and other facilities. We voted on an ordinance earlier to allow those to take place, and I think it's important that we commend those facilities, those people, many volunteers that are willing to step up and help our kids. And I believe it's going to, we got a lot of working families in our community. Two parents work, single parent homes, and the parent works. It's going to be very, very difficult for those kids to maintain a level of academic learning during this trying time. So I think it's important that we thank those people when we get a chance. They're the ones that are reaching out and open up their doors for our children. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Thank you much. Commissioner Cowell, you sure? All right. Thank you. Guys, I want to take an opportunity to thank all of you tonight for being consistent and making sure that we do everything that we possibly can to keep our community safe, do our part to try to make sure that we get our kids back in school. So I want to thank all of you tonight for being consistent. We do have a need for executive session tonight. I think it's potential litigation. So I seek a motion that we go into executive session. We will not be taking a vote, guys. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for caring enough about your community to be here. It's been motioned by Commissioner Edwards. Can I get a second? Second by Commissioner Schultz. Moving into executive session.